Airtel IPO extension, the Cooperative Bank of Kenya records the highest dividend yield in East African retail bank stocks, and also Uganda ranked fourth amongst the most booming financial markets. A very good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and warm welcome to the program. Thank you once again for tuning into Smart 24 TV. This is Financial Markets, and I am your host, Anthony, together with
Victor.
Thank you so much once again for choosing Smart 24 TV. This show is proudly brought to you by OTEX, and with OTEX East Africa, we are saying you can do something new. Simply grab your phone and dial *292# and follow the prompts. You will be able to get to buy or sell treasury bonds across East Africa. Now, what is the difference between OTEX and the primary dealers? With OTEX East Africa, we are giving you market access through your mobile wallet. You can now trade using money on your mobile wallet. That is MTN or Airtel mobile money. Then secondly, OTEX is giving you information still using the USSD code *292#. If you want to learn more about their products, you can use the same USSD code and you will be able to learn more about this information. Also, OTEX is regulated by the Capital Markets Authority and licensed to offer these products. OTEX East Africa, doing something new. Well, it's a Monday morning and we get to look back at the week, and Friday was the last day of trade. We get to first of all look through what the end of Friday was and how we are expecting to maneuver this week. Anything for us, Victor, for the Friday trades on the Uganda Securities Exchange?
Well, we've seen some really intriguing market movements, but as of Friday last week, the Uganda Securities Exchange witnessed a total traded shares of 120,438 with a total market value of 19,216,560. So this is putting our current market capitalization at a substantial 16.3 trillion Ugandan shillings. So of course it is essential to understand the dynamics behind these movements. But let's not forget that this market capitalization, of course, reflects the overall value of the exchange. Now, taking a closer look at the equities that were in play and the ones that were in the spotlight on Friday, we had East African breweries that has been at the top of the whole cycle for the whole of the week, and we are looking at Centum Investments among other gainers. And East African breweries saw a notable gain of 3.85%, and this is a significant movement, and it also shows investor confidence in the brewery industry. We're looking at Centum Investments that also saw an increase, so although it was a bit modest, we are looking at a 0.22%, and it's important to delve into the factors influencing these gains and what it means for the market. But however, we also observed some stocks in red, and we're looking at MTN Uganda, KCB Group, and they both faced losses. Anthony, what do you think might be driving these downward movements, especially for a big dog like MTN?
Well, there's probably more than meets the eye. What meets the eye, actually? When you look at MTN's recent performance, the curves have been up and down. The prices have been so irregular. When you look at the last couple of months, especially between the month of August and October, we've seen one of the most very stable pricing for the company since listing at 170 shillings. However, there was a spike just last week to 180, and then the downward drop to 170 again. That was a very huge fall from 180 shillings to back to 170.26 shillings. But I just want to take you back to the story of MTN, first of all, even back to where we started in terms of listing. MTN came on board with a price of 200 Ugandan shillings. But remember, the stock was undersubscribed to, and not all the shares were bought into. So they still have a lot of shares that they are grappling with, and then the investors in the markets did not welcome the pricing so well, because after the 200 shillings, we haven't seen that stock even above 190 shillings at the secondary market trading. But the dividend policy for MTN is promising. However, of course, still going back to the IPO nature which we had, it was an electronic IPO. We had so many new investors coming into the market for the very first time. Some people were buying shares, and their expectations were way beyond what probably MTN could offer. Because I remember the very first dividend MTN issued was a 4.7 shillings per share, and that meant that for an investor who invested 200,000 on the IPO, they would carry home 4,700 shillings. Now, put that in the mind of a Ugandan who has already, been told that when you invest in a company, they're going to give you a very huge sum of money every year, and they have this whole other jumbled mentality and perspective of what they should be expecting. So that is one of the challenges, I would say, MTN has been facing. The investors they had coming in the in MTN IPO are new investors, most of them, at least for most part, and so they really do have very little knowledge of what is happening in the actual world of trading on a stock market. But also, I would applaud MTN because they have a 6-month gain now of 1.44%. They have a 3-month gain of about 0.15% on their price, and they are the 4th most traded on stock in the past quarter. In the past quarter, we are talking about July 19th to the 20th of October. They have traded within this period a total volume of over 6.16 million shares, valued at 1.05 billion Ugandan shillings, at an average of about 97,800 shillings per trading session. So there is hope. Investors are still trading on the stock, and anytime soon there will be small gains, but still that will be especially for the people who got into the market after the primary market, that is on the secondary market, when the stock had already lost some bit of value. They will be expecting some gains, but however, also the dividend seems to be a good one. There's been an improvement this year from 4.7 now to 5.6 shillings this year, and that shows you that the company is promising to do even much better. But the company is going to also face some competition from Airtel as we anxiously await their IPO to end. I hope, Victor, you've already been able to buy some shares at Airtel, but there's a lot of expectation of competition on the market as we see these two big dogs in the industry, of course, maneuver the stock market.
Well, thank you so much, Anthony, for those insights. Now, just for context, MTN Uganda experienced a loss of 5.28%, and KCB Group wasn't far behind with a loss of 1.72%. So to understand these declines, we should explore the telecommunications and banking sectors in Uganda and the broader economic context affecting these stocks. Now, for the telecommunications exploration, and as Anthony has given you a brief insight on what exactly is going on behind the walls of MTN, we will soon provide more insights on the banking sector for Uganda as well as East Africa at large. But turning our attention to the performance of the Uganda Securities Exchange Market Indices, we're looking at the benchmark all-share index, and it had a decline of 0.58%, and it closed at 935.66 Ugandan shillings. Now, Anthony, could you elaborate on the factors affecting these indices and their implications on investors?
Well, the issue with the indices here, the overall index, that is the benchmark, the all-share index, is a tracker of the aggregate performance of all the 18 stocks. Looking at the 1 week performance of this index, there's been a gain of 1.91%. That is thanks to stocks still like Stanbic Bank that have been resilient, and some of the cost listings such as East African Breweries Limited and Centum Investments that have also maintained the momentum. However, the local company index, on the other hand, decreased by a 2.73%, and that is to the detriment of the local stocks. Majorly, this can be dedicated to MTN Uganda. Losing a total value of 5% is a huge blow for the index, as this is one of the biggest counters in the local listings. However, the 1 week performance of the local company index is still at a gain of 0.59%, which is quite fascinating, and it kind of gives us hope that there is a long-term performance that we could be looking at for the local stocks. Remember, as we are all aware, Uganda Securities Exchange has most of its activity spanning from these local stocks. This is where investors are actually doing the actual trade, and this is where the market movement in price, in terms of trade, is seen. The cross listings, we barely see any trade, even a single share in a single month or even a quarter, right? So the local company index, to me, is a better representation of performance, and the loss we are seeing here can be totally explained by the loss on MTN, and there is hope for the local stocks, especially stemming from the performance of Stanbic Bank. Stanbic Bank, notably, they didn't trade on Friday, but their price has remained at 32.97 Ugandan shillings. Remember last week, they hit the 33 shillings mark, which has been a miracle price, if I could say, for the stock that has been listed for a very long time, since 2007, and has been trading on average at 20 to 25 Ugandan shillings. Hitting the 33 shillings is actually very much surprising for most of the investors. But Victor, I think we need to take a very quick breather. When we return, we want to analyze the Airtel IPO extension. Before we go any further, Airtel Uganda is experiencing something that hasn't been experienced in a while on the Uganda Securities Exchange. That is an IPO extension. What could be some of the factors behind this, and what are some of the implications on the people that are buying stocks at Airtel? My name is Anthony. I'm with Victor. We're taking a very quick breather, and we'll be right back. Stay with us.
Smart 24, driving business.
Ndeka wena mulamu.
Kawena kambona ku.
Otyo. Mbake mye rubona.